Sorry, let me move some of this stuff so it's a touch more visible before I get started here. That's way better. All right. Good evening, folks. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for legacy death and taxes. And today we're going to play something very much in the spirit of death and taxes, but it's not traditional D&T in any sense. So today we're going to be playing some Angel Stompy. So this follows the tradition of many other Stompy decks in that it's essentially like an Ancient Tomb, Chalice of the Void deck that has some amount of elements that try to just lock your opponent out of the game that you accelerate quickly, and then you play something big and bomby afterwards to take down the game. Right now, the Red Prison deck that focuses around Blood Moon is much more popular than this archetype, but this is an old, very, very classic archetype. This has been around for a long time. So, what are we trying to do? I suppose the cards fall into a few categories. We have a little bit of mana ramp, and then we have a lot of hate. So for hate, we have Sorcerer's Spyglass, which can stop fetch lands, if that's all they have. Otherwise, it can shut down powerful things like Planeswalkers. It's an older code, but it checks out. Yeah, exactly, Bosk, you get it. So we have Chalice of the Void and Trinisphere as like the most traditional hate cards. The Stompy decks are almost always playing this. They really go and just put the pressure on the efficiency of Legacy, allowing your slower cards to take over the game. Then we get some stuff that's not traditionally played. We have Ghostly Prison. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. By the way, those stack. So if you have 2 Ghostly Prisons, it's 4 for 1 creature to attack. If your opponent's plan is to beat you to death with Young Pyromancer tokens, they are not going to have a good time. We have Moat as another hate card for the creature decks, in that creatures without flying can't attack. We have a handful of removal spells, very flexible ones. So we have Banishing Light and Oblivion Ring to remove stuff, whatever you actually care about, which a lot of times is not very many cards. And then we have our ways to actually win the game. Palace Jailer is there as part removal spell and part draw engine. We have Shalai as just something that's easy to cast. So there are a lot of colorless lands in this deck, right? So we have Ancient Tomb, plus we have Wastelands and City of Traders and kind of Cavern of Souls too. So you don't want too many like white win conditions. So Shalai is here just as something that's easy to cast. And it does have a somewhat relevant ability to the format. It can stop some random stuff like Tendrils or Hymn to Turok from hitting you. Then we have the namesake card of the deck, Baneslayer Angel. This puts the angel into the Angel Stompy name of the deck. This thing's really hard to answer. Many of the format's removal spells, you know, like Abrupt Decay and Punishing Fire, actually can't kill this thing. So it's huge, and it has lifelink, so a whack from this might invalidate a couple turns from an aggro deck. We also have Elspeth's Sun's Champion, which can be a board wipe or just poop a whole bunch of creatures. And you might say, hey, but Elspeth and Moat aren't a combo. And see, that's where you'd be wrong, because its ultimate says you get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and have flying. So, still, technically a combo. Alright, so I guess technically it would be correct to play Celestia Signets in case I get like both a Mox Diamond and one of my Signets so that I could activate Shalai's ability. Now that's pretty deep. It's probably not happening, but yeah, I guess that is technically correct. That's a good catch. So, if this deck looks sweet and you're going to take it for a spin at your local shop because your moats have been rotting in your binder and you're like, man, I want to play with moat, maybe replace these with Celestia Signets. Yeah, watch it happen in the stream and I get like super punished for not doing this. I don't know that that's ever something that's going to pop up. But, like, Legacy is all about those fringe interactions that probably are never going to pop up, right? So many of those things end up winning games. All right, so let's take a look at the sideboard. So, relatively speaking, our main deck's pretty hateful, right? Like with Chalice and Transphere and Sorcerous Spyglass, like we have a lot of hate, and Ghostly Prison for other decks too. So our sideboard actually doesn't contain that much more hate. We specifically have Containment Priest and Rest in Peace for the graveyard-based decks. We have Thorn for generic combo and control. Otherwise, we just have a handful of other cards. This deck can be a little soft to hyper-aggression that can just deal a bunch of damage before like Ghostly Prison comes in play. So I want a couple of Blessed Alliances to just like make them sacrifice the creatures that are beating me to death. Council's Judgment is a generic removal spell. Luminarch Ascension is a hot one. This is here for your control matchups. For those of you that weren't playing when this was around, at the beginning of each opponent's end step, if you didn't lose life this turn, you put a quest counter on it. And if you have 4 more quest counters, you can pay 2 mana to make an angel. It's awesome. If we get color screwed with Sharon, I'll throw you another donation deck list. Deal. All right. The gauntlet has been thrown down here. And then we have 2 more win conditions in the sideboard. We have Elspeth Knight Errant and another Elspeth Sun's Champion. Again, these are things that can win through Moat, and we do have another one of those in the board for our creature matchups. Oh yeah, I have not played Luminarch Ascension since... Oh geez. Was this card legal when I was playing Standard? Yeah, this card was legal back when I was playing Standard. That's probably the last time I've seen it in play, other than like the random games of EDH. Alright, so this is a donation deck list courtesy of Lord Darkview. So he donated generically for the idea of Angel Stompy. And then we sat down for about an hour one day and kind of brewed up this list. This is an untested list, so we're going to see how it goes. And welcome to those of you who are new in chat. I hope you're enjoying. Let's get into some Legacy games. So the last one here was a 4-1. That was Tess with Bryant Cook. It was a pretty good evening. I was pretty happy with that performance. Although we started out with a league that we bombed through, but we recovered well. Absolute Law is something that you can play in D&T, but it's maybe not the best. The Cardboard Live extension can be something that... Sorry, the Cardboard Live extension should be working. It's working on my end. If you're on mobile, you might need to go and click the little puzzle piece icon in order to enable it. So I only have 1 land here. I can't cast any of my stuff. This is a clear mulligan. I'll take an 8. An 8 is solid. 8 out of 10 is a B. I probably don't want a win condition yet, as odd as that sounds. I'm pretty far away from actually casting this, so I'm just going to bottom that, and we'll draw something else to win the game, hopefully. I presume that would be Matt Strong? Yes, I think so. So the most likely thing we're going to be playing against here is going to be like a sneak attack deck, like some sort of show and tell variant. So like just having a whole bunch of Ghostly Prisons is fine against this sort of deck, I think. So is your last name actually like Blankenship? If so, then yes. Yeah, got it. So this is a little bit of a tricky turn in that I have a lot of viable options. Like, I can just Palace Jailer and start drawing some cards, but this is really what I want to put in off of Show and Tell. I can just cast Sorceress Spyglass, or I can start trying to stack Ghostly Prison effects. I think... Well, the prison shuts off a sneak attack effect in the short term, right? But not in the long term. It might be better to Spyglass, and if my opponent has a Grizzlebrand, I can just name Grizzlebrand. And if they don't, I can name Sneak Attack. Alright, so Signets are a little interesting online. They take some getting used to. Okay. So opponent currently doesn't really have anything like super good that I need to name in hand. So I guess this is fine for me. I'm going to take a quick snip of this hand because I think this is one of the cards that doesn't actually reveal it. Yeah, so it's not 100%, but the Cunning Wish probably suggests that our opponent is more on the like Omni-Tell version of this than anything else. Like it's not mono blue, but they may or may not actually have sneak attacks. Is what I'm getting at here. Alright. So they cast the Show and Tell that they got, and this is going to let them put in Omni, and then they'll get to Cunning Wish. Presumably they have a kill. So if they actually have the kill, there's not a lot that I can do. But I'll put in a Ghostly Prison. We'll make an effort here. Yeah, so my opponent gets Fireman's Foresight, and this can just let them get another Cunning Wish plus 2 cards. So they can get, like, Brainstorm, another 2-mana cantrip like Impulse, and then a Cunning Wish. The idea is for them to now go and find an Emrakul so that they can Brainstorm the Emrakul to the top of their library, and then release the Ants-Me a huge number of times. Well, I don't really care if he Grizzlebrands. If he Grizzlebrands, like, between the Sorcerer Spyglass, Double Ghostly Prison, and Palace Jailer, I can probably handle that. It's the Emrakul that I'm specifically worried about. Also, you know what Baneslayer Angel has protection from, chat? Grizzlebrand. My god, are we still alive? Chat, we might be alive. Ha-ha! Alright, so... whatever I cast might just get Force of Willed. So what would I want to get Force of Willed? Probably not Palace Jailer. Probably Ghostly Prison. Although, like, Ghostly Prison's kind of hard for them to just beat right now, honestly. Cunning Wish. He can Intuition for Emrakul, Emrakul. Put in Emrakul with Sneak Attack. Pay 2 to attack me. So our chances of winning are 0. We are dead. Yeah, we were very lucky to get to untap in the first place. Alright, so I think I like Council's Judgment. Blessed Alliance is good against Grizzlebrand, but not good against Emrakul. We may end up bringing it in, we may not. Containment Priest is fine. Thorns are good. I may even Luminarch Ascension, because this deck isn't really going to be doing damage to me. So let's figure out what's bad, and then like we'll adjust accordingly. Their creatures fly, so Moat's terrible. I am probably not going to get the opportunity to just Wrath of God them, if I were to guess. Something like Oblivion Ring or Banishing Light that can just do something if they show and tell is going to be much stronger. But honestly, most of our cards are pretty okay against this deck, it seems. Like Spyglass, Banishing Light, Oblivion Ring, Ghostly Prison, Palace Jailer, even Trinisphere are all just kind of annoying to put in off of a show and tell. So I'm fine with cutting some of the top end. And Baneslayer Angel just beating Grizzlebrand off a show and tell is also kind of cool. Alright, so 100% I want these 5 in. The Luminarch Ascension, I think, probably is not going to end up coming in, just kind of like looking at how things are right now. And the Council's Judgment, while I always bring that sort of thing in versus with like D&T, it may not be better than other stuff here. Like, I still have to make 2 cuts, and all these cards seem fine. Maybe Prison is... Like, Prison, I guess, is only good if we get multiple Prisons. So maybe I am supposed to cut those. So I could bring in Council's Judgment and Luminarch. And then I guess I'll still play 2 of these. It's like, it's either play 2 of these or play 2 Blessed Alliance. Oh, shit. Yeah, I am at 62. That's okay. Our deck's good enough that we can play 62 cards. I needed another land here. I needed another land here. Yeah, Jailer's insane. So, like, just consider if they cast Show and Tell and put in a creature and you put in Jailer. That's just nuts, right? You just, like, win the game on the spot. This isn't great, but I can still just, like, turn 3, cast a Palace Jailer, and hope that's good enough. Drawing an extra card every turn can get you out of a lot of bad openers. And there are also just, like, so many things we can rip off the top to just make this hand respectable despite going to 5. Another Plains was not one of them. Also, I definitely misplayed by not swapping out my Plains art. So I could play around Spell Pierce by playing City of Traders, but I think that's a poor long-term plan. So I'm just going to play Chalice on 1. I don't regret it. I talked about it. I realized it could happen. Our opponent's probably Cantrip Light anyway, if they're not playing them out in the early turns. Well, this Caracas is neat. Note that I'm not just like playing Caracas and passing here or anything like that. If my opponent had Sneak Attack, they could have gone like play Sneak Attack and like put in a creature off of Lotus Petal already. So I don't think they have it. Cunning Wish for Intuition. I don't really enjoy a lot of like shooter and shooter-esque games personally. I'm more of like an RPG and like card game and board game sort of person. So it's just like personal enjoyment. Like I won't knock it. I know a lot of people are really into that sort of stuff. Like my roommate plays from time to time, but it's just not for me. TTRPGs being Traveler Tales? I've probably played some of their stuff in the past. Okay. 2, 4, 6. So I have 6 permanents. I can bounce this Emrakul, have my opponent Lotus Petal it back in, sacrifice all my permanents, and become the Monarch. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. There's going to be a touch too slow here. We had a decent recovery from a Mull to 5, but this is probably the end. Like, the only way we win this game is if my opponent just, like, draws dead off of both their draw step and their Monarch card for, like, 5 turns. Oh, tabletop RPGs. Not frequently. I've played some in the past, but I'm more of a board game person, so like I play a lot of like Dominion, Ascension. I really love Mansions of Madness. That game's really good. Oh, sorry, I missed another question. What's the best Final Fantasy, and why is it Final Fantasy VI? Final Fantasy VI is a great Final Fantasy. If we're talking about, you know, what is my personal favorite, that would be Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation 1. Not the Game Boy reboots, but the original Final Fantasy Tactics. I felt like that game was very strategic, very deep. It had a really cool class system. I probably sunk more hours into that Final Fantasy than any other one. So that's my personal favorite. That being said, I don't think it is like objectively the best Final Fantasy. It's just the one that that I enjoy the most. As far as best Final Fantasy goes, like that's a tricky one. I think a lot of people in my age group just like snap say Final Fantasy VII. I don't know that I would agree with that. I I enjoyed 9 a lot personally. I really liked the cast, especially Vivi, the little black mage. I don't think playing Lyra has a lot of upside due to opposing Caracas. One of the things I was talking about Lord Darkview with when I was brewing this deck list was that we thought that Baneslayer Angel was just better than Lyra as a whole because of the upside against Grizzlebrand and not being bounceable by Caracas out of things like D&T. Well, I'm sorry for your wallet, but I'm really glad that you bought a Switch. I am loving, loving, loving that system so much. I've just it's everything that I wanted out of a video game system. It is both a giant Game Boy and something that I can just hang around the house and play on the big TV. It is a great game to just like play with other. It is a great system to just hang out and play with other people. And I know that's like the case for a lot of consoles, but the Switch really is doing a great job with their multiplayer content. And the Joy-Con controllers are really easy for people to just pick up and play with. In Bear with Two Guns, no, I have not played the Xenoblade game. I thought Final Fantasy VIII was fine. It gets a lot of hate, but there was definitely some interesting stuff going on there. It is a Tarmogoyf. I haven't seen one of those in quite some time. I would love to draw a Soul Land to just Palace Jailer that away, rather than Oblivion Ring it away. Oh yeah, agreed. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy XII. Like, I put a lot of time into that game. I did not enjoy maybe the first third of that game, though. I think before you get the options to, like, go and customize your, like, tactics slots, that the game's not particularly fun. But once you do, and, like, you kind of get access to more of the open world, and you get to go and hunt around and do some of those quests, I think it's great. Lord Darkview, I don't think we let the Tarmogoyf connect once, because it's very potentially going to be much bigger the next time around. So, like, for example, say they cast an Abrupt Decay and destroyed my Chalice of the Void. That's an instant and an artifact going into the graveyard, and I just get whacked for 3 there. So I don't think we take a hit from it. No, I have not played Xenoblade 2. Yeah, I think the experimentation in FF8, God, that was brutal. I think some of the experimentation in FF8 probably led to good results later on. All right. So I'm going to make an attack in. This attack is bad if my opponent has, like, an Abrupt Decay or an Assassin's Trophy or something like that. Because they can, like, take out the O-Ring and then just have a blocker. But I don't think I win the game by playing scared. And in Jedi, as far as things to think about, I also have been playing Shovel Knight. That game's really good. If you're into, like, the Mega Man series, I think it's a great pickup. It's like Mega Man, but instead of a gun, you get a shovel. And it still has that same retro-y feel. Alright. Yeah. If I were the opponent, I would have considered doing that in combat to just get my Palace Jailer for free. But I understand them not. Because if I just have another Palace Jailer, it's a little disastrous. Other things on my to-play list. This is going to grow the Tarmogoyfs if I discard this, but I really don't want to have this in my hand. I want to play Hollow Knight and Octopath Traveler. This game's super interesting. I don't know if it's, like, actual factual Jund box, or if my opponent is just Junding. I'm just assuming it's regular Jund until I see anything that indicates otherwise. Carne 40,000, thank you very much for following, and Kafegret, thank you for resubbing. 4 months is a long time. Praise be to Thalia. Alright, and I don't think there's any world where I win now. Is Moat good against Jund? Is that how that works? Alright, so Elspeth, Moat, more other Elspeth, Council's Judgment, probably Blessed Alliance, Luminarch Ascension is maybe questionable, Rest in Peace, probably good. We actually have a lot of cards here. So let's figure out what I don't want. Yeah, the hymn for double Angel was rough. I don't really like Chalice of the Void versus Abrupt Decay decks. It's just not a great recipe for success. I might cut a lot of, like, my soft taxation stuff just for these haymakers. So, like, Sorcerer's Spyglass, for example, is basically only for Liliana of the Veil, or maybe Liliana of the Last Hope as well. I'm probably willing to dump those and just, like, rely on Banishing Light, Oblivion Rings, and Council's Judgment to answer them. And then I guess that leaves Trinisphere as like the soft piece that's left. Playing one Trinisphere is kind of weird. Is there something I can play over the Trinisphere? I probably don't want to play Thorn. Maybe I leave in one Spyglass for Lily. It's either like one Spyglass or play Luminarch Ascension. Like, there are going to be a lot of games where they don't have creatures and they open on things like Miri's Guile and Sylvan Library and, like, Punishing Fires and stuff. I guess Punishing Fire is a reason not to play Luminarch Ascension, actually. Let's run this. Well, that's a mulligan. This is a keep. Unless I get, like, Thoughtseized or something, this hand is very strong. Just, like, curving turn 2 Rest in Peace into turn 3 Palace Jailer is stellar. I'll bottom that land. We're also going to make the pro play of not F6ing through their turn, so that they have to think about Swords to Plowshares in the post-board games. Alright, so basically all I care about now is Hymn to Turok hitting my Palace Jailer. I don't care if it hits double Ancient Tomb, and I just have to, like, play this out more slowly. Don't care if it hits the Wasteland, but I really need to stick this Palace Jailer next turn. Also, if they fetch Forest there, and I think that is a very preemptive fetch, I don't really know what they're trying to accomplish. Alright, so question for everyone in chat. Is drawing an extra card every turn good versus Jund? Yes or no? Yeah, like, now I'm going to have, like, Wasteland Badlands plus Wrath available. Yeah, Punishing Fire being gone for the rest of the game is sick. Ooh. And I get Shalai. Now I can't be, like, hymned or Thoughtseized, and some of the effectiveness of, like, Liliana is mitigated. No, I don't think I'm going to play around Jund playing Dryad Arbor. Like, if they go for Dryad Arbor and a kill spell, and, like, that's the world that we're living in, I'll probably just take that Monarch back at some point. I'm not too worried about beating just, like, Dryad Arbor. Well, we got another one of these, so that's decent. Alright, so for those of you who aren't really familiar with Magic that have just stopped in to support me, these right here, these are the life totals. You lose the game when you get to 0 life. In the bottom right corner, the first number is the creature's attack power. That's how much damage they deal. The right number is sort of their defensive property. It's how much damage they can take before they die. There are some other things on screen that are kind of useful. This right here is the number of cards in hand. This right here is the number of cards in library. You start with 60. And you'll also lose the game if you run out of cards in your library. Alright, so I don't know which cards are shutting down my opponent, but they're not doing a lot right now. Like, I don't know if it's the Shalai, I don't know if it's the Rest in Peace, some combination thereof. So note, if this was a Celestia Signet, we'd still only have single green. I already played a land, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Jedi, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support there, Jedi. It means a lot when things like this happen on stream. It's, probably somewhat obvious, but the things like this mean a lot to streamers. We put a lot of time into making the streams great, and moments like this really, really make me smile. Oh, another Palace Jailer. You don't say. So the way I see this going is my opponent is going to try to, destroy my Rest in Peace and attack, and I'm not going to let that happen. Yeah, if you've been watching since August, you already saw me when I was sort of in the swing of things already. But the stream has come a long way and is going to go a lot further soon. Guess I can play this. My opponent gonna K command in response? Alright, well that was definitely a reason not to play that. Oh no. We've gone so much deeper than Ancient Tomb taxes. Minifer, Lord Darkview and I brewed up an Angel Stompy deck list. Okay. So I need 9 mana to do this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll need to tap an Ancient Tomb once. If my opponent like K commands me or something, which one would I rather discard? I'd rather discard the Baneslayer Angel. Actually, for that reason, I guess I should pay with all white first. Alright, I'm confused when you say it could be going better. I have Baneslayer Angel and Rest in Peace. Oh, alright. Minus the Baneslayer Angel part. But I have Rest in Peace, Double Ghostly Prison, a Moat, and I'm the Monarch. I am the pretty, pretty princess. Like, all I need to worry about is, like, getting, like, Chandra emblemed. It's about the only way I'm losing this game, right? Game 4 life is strong. You only start with 20. Alright, they're just on the Dome Me plan. I'm still on the play out lands plan because I have these Ancient Tombs that I don't actually want to tap. Yeah, isn't Cardboard Live great? Like, really, though, those guys are doing something awesome for the game. For people not familiar with Cardboard Live, oh, come on! Stop killing my Baneslayer Angels! Opponent is mean. For those of you not familiar with Cardboard Live, it's an extension that lets you see deck lists. So on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a fistful of cards that lets you go and see the extension. Sorry, see the deck list that I'm playing. Yeah, now the Chandra gets the ultimate, and I don't know that I can beat that. That is just, like, one turn too late. What the hell are they doing? What the hell are they doing? You just ultimate that immediately. That is so greedy. I'm going to gain some life now. Now I need to just draw, like, Banishing Light or Oblivion Ring and punish the ever-loving shit out of their greed. Chat, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I'm a skilled magician. No, we will need to wait a couple of turns to start attacking. Because of our moat, these can't attack yet. But that's fine. Hey, Bob, you say? Well, that can live. Or can it? I should probably answer the Bob. Vanishing Light, the Oblivion Ring. That'll show him. Ah, man, I can't even Vanishing Light my own Oblivion Ring. It's like they remember the days where you got to Oblivion Ring, the Oblivion Ring, the Oblivion Ring, when they're the only 3 permanents onto the battlefield and just go ham. Good times. Good times. So this ultimate's at 7, right? Alright, so I can ultimate this next turn. Neat. I even get Sorcerer's Spyglass for if my opponent plays something scary. Punishing Fire my Elspeth. That's fine. That goes away. You don't get to do that again. Toxic Deluge, eh? That's interesting. I'll just name a Planeswalker here. I don't care about their Bloodstained Mire. I think I care about another Chandra more than anything else. I think it's pretty unlikely that my opponent has a ton, but I think it's the card that I care about the most. Hello, Bob. Wasteland, not a great card here. I think I'll play out the Wasteland, but I don't even know that I need to use it. Alright, I already used this, right? Yeah. Elspeth is great. Ha-ha! Skilled Magician! So they have to deluge for 1 here, which kills their Bob and my infinite spirit tokens. Oh, and their Coif because it's a 0/1. This deck is great. This deck is absolutely stellar. So there is a world where I do just want to create this emblem right now. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and create some more soldier tokens. Ooh, Spyglass naming Deed does sound really good. Like, that would be one of the few cards that really could answer everything that I've got going on here, right? I do know that they have multiple Chandras from game 1, but if I feel like I'm in a very difficult to lose position, that is a good call. Well, it's more that the Deed would wipe away all the enchantments and artifacts that are on the board. And I think I had O-Ringed or Banishing Light did away a couple of relevant permanents. Yeah, I mean, I played the outs a couple of times, and the outs happened. Like, really, if my opponent just had ultimated the Chandra, there's literal no way I win that game, right? Man, like, Legacy has been a little bit cyclical in the last couple of months, where we've gone through a number of, like, small phases. Right now, we're in the combo is on the uptick phase, and people are learning how to deal with it. So then, like, Delver's starting to come back, which will probably mean that D&T will start to come back. And the big, yeah. So I need mana, but with 1 land, I have, like, multiple prisons and Oblivion Ring to deal with early stuff, and then I have Moat as endgame. This is probably borderline, but I'm going to keep this one. The Dredge phase was rough. Yeah, on the play, I'd probably ship this one. On the draw, I think it's great. Well, not great, but good. Like, my opponent thought seizes me. They're probably obligated to take Moat, right? Like, it's an unbeatable card. I don't know why my opponent takes Shalai. I guess they have, like, a Lily or a Chandra or something that they're going to play out, but the Oblivion Ring gets that anyway. Our opponent got a Bloodstained Mire with the Bob. So now if I hit a land, I'll O-Ring or Banishing Light Dark Confidant. That seems like a poor Abrupt Decay to me. It seems like unnecessarily aggressive because I've hit my land drop and O-Ring the Bob. You'd much rather decay that. Although it could just be an indication that they do have another decay or Assassin's Trophy. Alright, Goyf in hand is another reason to do that. Yeah, it looks like I'm not getting to play Magic this time. And that happens. Yeah, if I draw... No, if I draw a soul land, I don't have double white for moat yet. Gutshot the Bob, thank you very much for your continued support. The downside of opposing Caracas, I think, matters a lot. Alright, so if this was how we were going to draw, basically anything we would have done here was not helpful. Alright, so if opponent has that, this plus P-Fire wins the game. That's a shame. I think we were overwhelmingly favored for this matchup if we just, like, drew one more land. Like, I just, like, Oblivion Ring the Dark Confidant, and then they're not drawing the extra cards, so the rest of their hand was really weak. So the Mr. Bumblebear, think about the math of it. So if I have 2 Caracas and a singleton Lyra, the chances of me getting both a Caracas and my 1 of Lyra are very low. The chances then of me also needing to protect the Lyra with Caracas, even lower, right? So I think my opponents having a Caracas in between all the games that I'm going to play, I think the chance of them bouncing my threat when it's relevant is much higher than me actually wanting to protect it. Yeah, the signets technically should be Celestian signets. That's something that we talked about at the beginning of the stream. It's something we didn't notice until I'd already borrowed the cards, though. Well, this hand is stellar. Turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Trinisphere. As long as we don't get, like, comboed off on turn 1, I feel great about this. You would like to Chalice on 1. That's fine, pal. That's fine. So, do I wasteland my opponent blind here? So I should probably assume that Chalice sucks and Trinisphere sucks in whatever matchup I'm playing. Whether it's like Mud or Eldrazi, whatever. I should just probably assume that these cards are bad. So my hand is really Shalai and Wrath of God. I don't have any white mana right now, so prolonging the game until I have white mana probably matters. So I'm going to Wasteland. The Factory is a threat, so that matters. Chalice on 0. That is actually relevant. Sorry, I'm gonna need to snip that one for the personal collection. Let's see. Is it art? No, it's in Magic. Screenshots. We call that one Chalice is hard. I will wasteland their wasteland to keep them from playing threats. And again, my Ancient Tomb is more valuable than my wasteland. Yes. Eldrazi confirmed. That is correct. I would really love to draw a Signet. Alright, so this is added to the pile of probably dead cards. So I'll play Ancient Tomb and pass. I don't need to Chalice on one. There's already one of those out there. So now I'm just hoping to draw like Plains or Signet, just anything that produces actual mana that I can cast. Well, opponent probably has a Thought Nuts here now. Oh no, just Matter Reshaper. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, do I want to cast Trinisphere? No, I wanted to discard the Chalice so it still looked like it was some sort of Eldrazi mirror. If I cast Trinisphere, then if my opponent has like an Eldrazi Mimic off the top but not another land, then they can't cast it, but I don't really know if that's worth the 2 life. I guess it also stops Endless Ones for 2 if my opponent doesn't hit another land. Although if I play the Trinisphere and my opponent wastelands me, then like if I draw a Signet, that's super bad instead of just regular bad. My 2 life might be more valuable than this Trinisphere. I'm just going to pass. All right. I would like to attempt to win target game, please. Go on, land. Yes! That's the best land, actually. Man, the opponent didn't even let me show them all the sweet cards I had in my deck. Alright. So I think we're going to bring in all the good cards and take out all the bad cards. We're actually going to kind of end up boarding similarly to last match, where we bring in the removal, the Planeswalkers, and the like moat. And we'll probably board out the Chalice and the Trinispheres, and that'll probably be about right, honestly. Sorcerer's Spyglass isn't stellar, but they do have things like Ratchet Bomb that I need to be aware of, and you'll occasionally see things like Jitte, or even just shutting off something like Endbringer's ability is fine. But this isn't an awesome card in the matchup. Yep, I think I like this. Yeah, you do have a point. What if they take out their bad cards and bring in their good cards too? We might be on somewhat even footing. If our opponent can play at that level, though, it's tricky to do. This is another hand where I need mana, but I essentially have like 2 sorts of removal spells of sorts here plus Jailer, so I think this is fine. We're on the draw. Yeah, I've got a couple of this one in different colors. I got them for, I think, Christmas a few years back, and I'm a big fan. Small misstep from my opponent. I think if I had boarded into like some sort of 1-drop removal spell, like Swords of Plowshares or Path to Exile, when I boarded Chalice out, then it was just correct to attack with this first. Because now if I have a Swords of Plowshares, I'll obviously use it on the better target. Ah, I think I'm going to name Walking Ballista with this. Alright, so Walking Ballista is a card that I'm going to want to keep in mind. That's something that can win through like a Ghostly Prison or a Moat. I don't know if I've mentioned this on stream before, but basic lands are pretty okay. I'm going to really enjoy kicking this a little bit later on. Alright, so do I just want to Oblivion Ring one of these, or do I want to Ghostly Prison? If my opponent just plays City of Traders, then they can attack me for 6. If I play Oblivion Ring on this, they can attack me for 5. I think long term I want to play this Prison. It'll also just, like, prevent them from playing another creature out to the board. So this one's probably going to end up being pretty close. Envysaurus Rex, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the content. We're playing something a little fun tonight. Alright, I lied. It's a lot of fun. Well, the second Ghostly Prison is awesome. Because now they have to pay 4 to attack, so it's their entire turn to attack me for 3. Yeah, it's been many moons since I played Soldier Stompy. Is it just Baneslayer time? I'm going to think about my turn for a second, and then probably play Baneslayer Angel. Is there anything that I could lose to? Land plus Dismember could make Baneslayer lose. But what's the second best line? The second best line would be like Palace Jailer or Matter Reshaper. Leave up 1 mana. Then if my opponent has land and dismember, I don't die. Well, I can't beat an all as dust anyway, right? Like, that just gets rid of the ghostly prisons and I'm gonna die. Like, if my opponent all as dusts me, the only way I can live is if I, like, Blessed Alliance. I think I don't play around Dismember, and I just play Baneslayer Angel and intend on winning the game if they don't have Dismember. I think this is the line that just wins the game if my opponent doesn't have it. I think otherwise I'm playing on tighter margins. All right. So now do I want a Jailer? Or do I just want to, like, hold up Blessed Alliance? It's sort of awkward, though, because if my opponent... Oh, no, I could just Blessed Alliance and untap my Baneslayer Angel. Oh, God. I'm holding up. No, I could just, like, hold up this Blessed Alliance and really fucking get him. Like, I can not use the attack... Like, I can just untap my creature, gain 4 life, and gain 9 life with the Blessed Alliance. My God. Oh, yes. Do it. I need this. That is not going to work. I'm fine with blocking a Reshaper. They can have another card for 5 life. Alright, I need 1 more mana here. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So theoretically, next turn they could attack with 2 creatures. So it's actually interesting what I'm supposed to get rid of here. I could get rid of one of these things that could not come back to play if my opponent all is dust, or I can remove the Matter Reshaper because like that's something that could attack in and not care that it dies. Or I could remove the Eldrazi Mimic because my opponent could like play something like in a Thought Knot Seer and then attack in with this by paying 4. Well, I don't care about the Ballista since it's like Sorcerous Spyglass. I'm going to tag Matter Reshaper. I think it's an interesting decision point. That was not blatant disregard. I explained my reasoning quite well for the play that I made. Jedi, I'm gonna copy that and I'll put it on a sticky note and I'll send that directly to them. Or on Word because I can't find sticky notes right now. So all I need to essentially do is just get to Elspeth. Geez, double Reality Smasher is kind of scary. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10. So my opponent just gets to play double Reality Smasher this turn. That's kind of hot. It does put them to 3 doing so, though. Yeah, Elspeth downtick would just be nutty. So I do need to keep in mind this Mishra's Factory that my opponent has. That does represent a little bit more damage. I'm dead if my opponent has a third Reality Smasher. That's unfortunate. We'll run this back the same way. Yeah, I mean, if my opponent has triple Reality Smasher after all his dust, that's gonna happen. All right, Mr. Bumblebear, you can sit in timeout for a little while. I explained the reasoning for my lines. I don't think what I did was wrong. I made a choice. And I think your tone hasn't been awesome the last few posts. So you can hang out for a little while in limbo. This is an interesting hand. So if I hit one more, if my top card is a land, I just go like plains this turn. Then I go like play land, Mox Elspeth on turn 2. Is that good enough? I think this is good enough. A turn 2 Elspeth would buy a crap ton of time. And if things go wrong, I just wasteland. So now next turn I get to like wasteland a soul land, Blessed Alliance a threat. I thought that's slightly awkward. What's being attacked here? Elspeth is being attacked? I think Elspeth can take a hit. What's that? Draw a moat, you say? Okay. No, I have not played the new Fire Emblem game. I watched a preview for it, and it looked really good. My girlfriend actually wants to play that one, so I'll probably end up getting it or borrowing it from a friend. Yeah, you're right. I should have jumped the soldier and just attacked in. I agree. I was on autopilot thinking about the other Elspeth from before, where it's just plus into Oblivion and then ultimate. The ballista now makes this awkward. Because now if I jump a soldier, they just ping it. But I guess I just repeat that process a couple of times and the ballista dies. Jump anyway. Yes, jumping confirmed fine if opponent F6s because I think nothing I do matters. Yeah, Endbringer would be great. So I'm going to hold the second moat encased of an All is Dust, and I'm going to take out my opponent's Ancient Tomb because that's something that provides 2 mana for a ballista. Yep, that's fine. So note that Shalai will stop this shenanigans, right? Like I can just play Shalai and then start jumping soldiers. Also, if I just jump another soldier, the ballista will just die. Alright, there's an Endbringer. Endbringer's pretty decent. So do I just want to ultimate Elspeth? Just give all of my stuff indestructible? Or do I just want to continue to plus? Like, Shalai is active. My opponent can still Endbringer this. I think I just pump my team, jump, and attack in, and just push more damage. Oh, Elspeth is -8? Well, then I found the line. Yeah, I might even just be able to, like, beat in all his dust anyway, right? Like, they all his dust, they can crack me for 16, and then I just play another moat. No, I guess, like, Endbringer pinging would potentially do that. Like, close out the game from there. Yeah, I 100% did not think it was feasible to get green-green. But, like, the weird double Mox Diamond opener did that. Hey, Arkin, welcome. Zadaris, the deck is interesting. Like, we've taken some losses, but I don't necessarily think this deck is bad. It probably has some consistency problems, like a lot of the Stompy decks do, but I'm doing some really powerful crap. No, I preemptively hid chat because my opponent sent me something sassy earlier, and I figured he'd get salty if he lost. So I figured it's just better to not see whatever he sends if he sends something. It's just going to be the good old draw a card mode. Pray. Hope. And we get there. Alright, so we're rallying back. Now we're 1-2. Got the losing done at the beginning of the stream. Let's get there. We've done some cool stuff that I didn't expect to so far. Like triple Ghostly Prison in play at the same time. That was neat. Actually activating Shalai when we only have 4 green mana sources in the deck. This deck is neat. 3/2 pity chess type indeed. I don't even care if I don't cash with this league. This stream is fun so far. Yeah, the stream's not all about like money, right? Like I'm clearly not doing this whole streaming gig to you know, make the absolute best financial use of my time. I'm doing this because it's fun, because I enjoy it and I love Legacy. That's why I'm here. This deck, it's got Chalice of the Void. I love that magic card. Moat's been stellar tonight. You know, we lost to Jund. They had a couple of Assassin's trophies that were really good. You know, it used to be that like Jund literally couldn't beat a Moat. That's changed to now. Yeah, what is Frog Depths? Because every frog that I can think, wait, like Gitrog monster, that frog? Because if so, that's kind of hilarious. Spore Frog? Oh man, I have played Spore Frog before. I played that in Commander quite a bit. Oh god, it's been so long I don't remember the card names anymore. There's the junk-colored guy that lets you cast a creature from your graveyard each turn. Playing Spore Frog every turn is pretty fun. Alright, Arkin, I gotta check this out. Oh my god, literal Spore Frog. Okay, that deck is special. Look, when I see a list like that, I don't ask how well you did. I ask for the best funny story. What was the best thing you did with that, Arkin? Because I can imagine just like assembling like Spore Frog Oversold Cemetery versus like some poor Eldrazi deck or something, and they just like concede in anger. Alright, we got a match. I think we're playing against the player who plays the weird blue-black Reanimator control deck. If that's the case, I think I'm fine keeping this hand. Like, I have acceleration into an expensive card, and I also just have, like, a Caracas for if my opponent oops Grizzlebrands me. I'm going to play out a Plains, and then Spyglass. Alright, so it's online, you have to click the signets first, or nothing works. Holy shit! Holy shit, chat. My opponent F6'd. My opponent F6'd there. I get their Scalding Tarn in play, and their Scalding Tarn in hand. I gotta snip that, too. Man, it is a snippy, snippy, snippy night up in here. Oh, that's great. That's great. We'll name that one Respond to Spyglass, please. My opponent has sent me a message. I'm going to show chat. Let's see what that is. Opponent says, good luck, have fun. After I... Oh god. That was strong. Well played, opponent. Well played. White faces. Joke's on you. Baneslayer Angel has protection from demons. Yeah, so there are a lot of people who get like the various like Pithing Needle, Phyrexian Revoker, Sorcerous Spyglass effects confused. So that's totally reasonable. That maybe is what happened. Yeah, sometime from home, it's really hard to tell what your opponent was thinking when they made a play. You know, in paper, you know, you like watch the other person's body language and they go like, "Oh God, I fucked up." But online, you don't necessarily know. So what am I scared of? I guess I'm scared of my opponent somehow killing Baneslayer Angel and then reanimating it. Well, Collective Brutality will not get my Ghostly Prison. But Oblivion Ring, that'll get your Grave Titan. Yeah, Ghostly Prison is awesome against like Grave Titan here because like my Oblivion Ring answers the Grave Titan itself, and then I don't really care about the zombie tokens if I have Ghostly Prison, especially with one of my opponent's lands not being a land. Yeah, I've played Baneslayer Angel in Legacy before. Geez, maybe back in like, oh, Entomb. Are you gonna get a Grizzle Daddy? You're gonna get a Grizzle Daddy. All right. Well, you can draw a bunch of cards, but what is that gonna do? I have Caracas and Baneslayer Angel. Hey, Lord Darkview, remember how we were talking about how this might be relevant? I think it's relevant. Or it certainly would be if this Caracas wasn't here, right? Alright, so my opponent discards the Scalding Tarn we saw before, Grizzlebrand, and a Marsh Flats. Our draws have been going okay, yes. So my opponent could go like land, play Jace, bounce Baneslayer, and try to counter it on the way back down. but I can, like, both Baneslayer and Oblivion Ring next turn. So this is not scary. So which order do I want to do this in? So, like, presumably they found Force of Will. That's, like, the way that this makes sense. So, if I Baneslayer... Alright, just let me confirm I can do both of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no, I only do have 7. 3, 6, 7. So I guess I'll O-Ring and just take care of the Jace, and then play Baneslayer next turn. Also, like, the talk of Force of Will is irrelevant. Sorry, I just realized that because I have Trinisphere. My opponent can't force anyway. I'm going to play out this Ghostly Prison. It's a little punishing if my opponent plays exactly Liliana of the Veil and pluses. But otherwise, this is going to be great against, like, a Grave Titan getting into play, or really any creature. Just any time they want to attack with a creature, they get to do nothing else that turn. Oof. Brainstorm with Trinisphere on board feels rough. This also will mean that my Baneslayer does resolve. I'm not sure what my opponent is looking for this turn that would make them want to do that now. Ha ha ha! Pocket Baneslayer. Well, the good news is I have first strike. God, I love Trinisphere. This card's so good. Yeah, I feel like I got interrupted by something earlier, but back in, like, maybe 2016 or something like that, whenever, like, Shardless Bug was, like, everywhere, I played a pair of Baneslayer Angels in my sideboard. Like, I had, like, 2 Baneslayer Angels and 2 Wiltleaf Lieges, and it was just like, alright, I'm never going to lose this matchup. Like, let's go. You know what's the best thing about Baneslayer Angel? It's not legendary. We get another. No. Animate Dead targeting Baleful Strix. Alright, I like this. This is playing towards outs. So for anyone not following the chat, Whiteface has said, a small part of me wants them to damnation, and then you can't Caracas it. Alright, so we're playing against control. So I'll want the planeswalkers. I'll want the Council's Judgment for like their planeswalkers and their big creatures. I'll play Rest in Peace. Moat's good against Grave Titan, but bad against a lot of their other creatures. So the creatures they have are Baleful Strix, Snapcaster Mage, 1 Grave Titan, 1 Gristlebrand. That's their creature package. So Moat's good against Snapcaster and Grave Titan, but not the others. Your deck has a lot of really irritating things going for it. Yes, it does. You're not wrong. So I feel like I probably want these 7 cards. So what don't I want? Because I feel like a lot of my cards are just good against these sorts of decks. Is the Ghostly Prison stuff too weak? I feel like that might be weak here. Like, it's mana taxing, but is that I don't think it's better than, like, Trinisphere or Chalice, and I want those. I maybe don't want Shalai. How many more cuts would I need? I would need 1 more cut if I do this. I'm sort of on the fence on the Wrath of God, because it's something that can just clean up a board full of idiots. Oh, I'm also, like, kind of medium on the Moat. When you say ditch it, do you mean ditch Wrath of God or ditch Moat? Because I think my last cut is one of those 2 cards, and I don't know which one. I think it's Moat. You say Moat? That's fair. Like, really, I don't care about them attacking with Snapcasters. I care about them attacking with Grave Titan. And I guess I'm just trying to stop that with, like, Rest in Peace Containment Priest anyway. This one's going to be a mulligan. Not enough mana. So, with a land, this is fine. With a soul land, this is stellar. But if I miss the land, I die. I don't mind Force of Will because I have Chalice and Trinisphere as early plays. I'm gonna keep this one. Land can go on top. Oh, and an opponent did send us a message. They intentionally did not use Scalding Tarn last game. They were thinking that I was going to name Jace with it, and they were just wrong. Or they potentially thought that, like, baiting me into naming Tarn would let them keep their Jace for later on. So my opponent took... Actually, so my opponent took the Trinisphere. They're leading with the Chalice. That means that they can answer the Chalice. or ignore the Chalice. So what's the scariest thing that can happen to me? The scariest thing that can happen to me is my opponent goes end of turn Entomb into Animate Dead. If I play Rest in Peace, I stop that. Am I supposed to play Rest in Peace over Chalice of the Void? I think I am. If my opponent has Force of Will, they Force of Will Rest in Peace, and then I have Chalice afterwards. But if my opponent has Entomb plus Animate Dead, and they left the Chalice thinking that they could ignore it, then I probably just win this game for making this decision. I think I'm going to Rest in Peace, because I think if they have Entomb Animate Dead, this is just so good. Yeah, Lord Darkview, that's a really good way to phrase that. I can't lose the game because I play Rest in Peace, but I could lose the game because I play Chalice. That's a really eloquent way of putting that. Hey, this is what I was talking about, right? Yeah, I mean, but it makes me feel really good about my play last turn, like, because they did have it. So if I played Chalice, I would have just lost to Entomb Animate Dead. Like, when you notice spots like that, it always makes you feel really good as a Legacy player when, like, you kind of think through what your opponent's thinking about, and you go, like, is there a reason for this? This looks weird. I have a choice to make. I can either Chalice on 1 to try to mitigate the power of my opponent's Grizzlebrand, or I can just play this Signet in hopes of resolving a Palace Jailer to take out the Grizzlebrand. The awkward thing is that Palace Jailer taking out Grizzlebrand doesn't actually beat Strix. So, what are the outs? I guess I need to play my Signet, because I can be running towards Wrath of God, or getting Ancient Tomb or City of Traders to play Baneslayer, and that can block Grizzlebrand. You know, my opponent could just have an Edict effect. Arkin, that Villager emote is awesome, by the way. Oh yeah, assuming my opponent has any Force of Will, Spell Pierce, anything like that, I'm going down. Now my opponent gets to Fate Seal me. Mox Diamond, not good enough. Concede. That's alright. Opponent had a great draw. I'll try again now. So, does anything change when I'm on the play? I don't think so. Like, the Ghostly Prisons get a little better when I'm on the play. Thorns get a little better when I'm on the play. But the Thorns disrupt me a lot, too. Like, it makes some of my endgame cards really expensive, and it makes a lot of my answers more expensive. So, like, I really want Thorn for dedicated combo decks, and my opponent is a hybrid control combo deck. While Thorn is great against both of those, I don't know that it's stellar. I'm gonna run this back. Jesus, hand's awkward. So I can't produce white-white. 3 of the cards in my hand are white-white. If I Mox Diamond and pitch Wasteland, then when I play another land, the City of Traders is gone. I can't keep this. This is not a good hand, but I'm going to keep it. I have an uncounterable Palace Jailer, and this Mox Diamond can go to the bottom. Did you forget the time we cast the turn to Elspeth? Because that was pretty sweet. But yeah, the deck might still have some mana problems. So I'm thinking about Hymn to Turok here. If I get Hymned, do I want to have Cavern in play or Plains in play? Probably Plains, because if I get Hymned, I might lose the Jailer anyway. And I just want to be, like, guaranteed to have white-white for anything that I cast. Alright, opponent's hand is a little weak. They have another Thoughtseize to take my Jailer, but they do not have any blue mana. So their route to victory here might be Thoughtseize my Jailer and then try to Animate Dead it. So I think the problem with Chrome Mox is that we're playing a lot of artifacts, right? Like if you scroll over the Cardboard Live extension, you can see we're playing 16 artifacts. That's a ton. So I just, like, don't know that, like, playing as many artifacts as I can, that Chrome Mox is reasonable. No, like, I know from the previous games that my opponent has a split of fetches. Like, I saw Flooded Strand, Marsh Flats, and Scalding Tarn. So I don't think I want to do that. You can share a link in chat, that's fine. So if I were the opponent here, I would have just, like, snap Animate Dead Palace Jailer. But they're more interested in producing, like, a Grave Titan, say. But I think just, like, Palace Jailer is an incredibly powerful effect. So the moats and prisons are in the sideboard, so I'm really looking for Wrath of God. How do I win this game? Other than drawing Wrath of God. And Elspeth Sun's Champion can clear the Grave Titan. The moats are in the sideboard. So I have 4 removal spells for Grave Titan, plus 2 big Elspeths. This is not stellar. So is there a world where I can just race instead if I draw Baneslayer Angel? So I could whack my opponent for 4, put him to 10. My opponent can attack me for 7. I can play Baneslayer. Baneslayer can block a zombie. I don't think the racing is super likely. So I'm just going to make another token and pass. Also, it really depends on like how much they value attacking me versus how much they value attacking Elspeth. So Grave Titan is coming at me. The zombies are going at Elspeth. I think I'm just going to keep my life total high here. I think I'm going to let Elspeth take 4. Elspeth doesn't die. Containment Priest is a little late to the party. I'm sitting here thinking about whether or not I boarded correctly. Like, I do feel like trimming Moat and Ghostly Prison is definitely correct. Like, Moat is basically only good against Grave Titan, which is how we're losing here. Alright. So 2 zombie tokens are going at Elspeth. 2 are going at me, Grave Titan's going at me. So I'll chump Grave Titan, keep my life total high. And I'll chump 1 zombie here, just make another token with Elspeth. And then we'll figure out what to do from here. I know I've said this a billion times, but Wrath of God would be Dece to Dece plus. Wasteland is not going to do it. No, I don't think you can play Enlightened Tutor in a stacks deck. Like, you really... Since I have all of these lock pieces where Enlightened Tutor just, like, either is bad with them or actively works against them, like, I just don't think it's viable. Goodbye, soldier. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is uncounterable, so I don't need to cast this in the face of the Ponder. I'm technically not dead yet. My opponent has a removal spell, though. I will die. They also may choose to attack the Elspeth, which would be stellar. Alright, so 2 zombies are going at Elspeth. So that means this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage exactly. So I do need to go and cast this. I'm just going to double check my math. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, exactly. So I do need to block. And I'll block the Grave Titan, preserve as much of my life total as I can. And we're hoping to draw exactly Wrath of God off the top. What does the dealer say? My opponent says, sorry your draws were so bad. It happens. Alright, so we have now failed to cash this league. Let's see if we can take down the next one on the way out, though. I do feel like this was a very good first draft of this deck list, though. I still don't feel like the mana's good, which is a little problematic for a mono-white deck, you know? So, like, is it Mox Diamond that's not good? Am I just supposed to play more Signets? Am I not supposed to, like, play Wasteland and, like, ignore the synergy it has with Ghostly Prison? So Suppression Field is a non-bow with some of the things that I'm playing. So, for example, it doesn't really work with Wasteland. It doesn't really work with, like, the Planeswalkers that I'm playing. So you can build this deck with Suppression Field. I just think it needs to be different if you do so. I don't love Suppression Field in a shell where you're trying to use, like, Ancient Tomb and City of Traders to ramp ahead, because Suppression Field is, like, a 1 colorless and 1 white card. So just, like, food for thought on that. I'm not gonna poo-poo the Suppression Field suggestion, because that's something that Lord Darkview and I were talking about when we were drafting up this deck list, and, like, it definitely came up. Suppression Field is kind of similar to Sorcerous Spyglass in that they're both really good against, like, the Control Deck's Planeswalkers. So I wonder if, like, playing Suppression Field alongside Sorcerous Spyglass is too much? Unclear. Alright. We're going into the final round. I have turn 1 Chalice into turn 2 Chalice. I'm going to keep this. Ignore the fact that we can't cast any of these other non-Chalice of the Void magic cards. Lawn Gnome, I agree. Sorcerous Spyglass gives you answers to cards that would be really hard for this deck to answer. So, for example, it's really hard for me to beat a Planeswalker, and Sorcerer's Spyglass is something that can like retroactively be slapped down in order to muck with those. I have no regrets about being 1-3 right now. Absolutely none. I think this deck is sweet. I think it has a lot of potential. This was a great first draft of the deck list. Like, I'm super happy with where it's at. All right, so how many 2-drops do I have? So I have 2 Signets and 3 Spyglasses. If my opponent is Burn, and I put a Chalice on 2, they're pretty screwed. If my opponent is Red Prison and I put a Chalice on 2, it does nothing and hurts me a little bit. Do I cast Chalice on 2? Like, what's more likely, that they're playing Red Prison or that they're playing Burn? I think that they're playing Burn. It's awkward if they're Red Prison and they, like, play a Planeswalker and I need my Sorcerer's Spyglasses. But, like, I don't have any 2-drops right now, and I just win the game if they are Burned. Like, they literally cannot do enough damage unless they draw all 4 Fire Blasts. And they're Red Prison. Well, Spooky Skelemancer, welcome. You can have Ancient Tomb. Well, it's just a Chalice fast stuff in here. My opponent and I are going to have a number of cards that we're going to be boarding out in this matchup. Please not Chandra minus Kill Shalai. Of note, like, Ghostly Prison does seem kind of sweet against Red Prison, right? Because, like, their 8 Rebel Master effects are super poor against Ghostly Prison. I am not running Resplendent Angel. Spooky Skelemancer, I don't know if you've seen it before, but the Cardboard Live extension, if you click the cards on the left-hand side of the screen, it'll pull up the full deck list for you, and you can see exactly what I'm doing. Baneslayer is my big finishing angel of choice. So this turn's a little tricky. If I play Mox Diamond, it's another white source. If I play Ancient Tomb, it's 1 mana closer to just, like, hard casting these. Opponent Chaliced on 0. Well, the choice is clear. I'm going to play out Ancient Tomb. Alright. So, am I attacking this Karn? It may be more important to keep the Rabble Master in check. Because the Rabble Master attacks is just like 3 power, and I don't care about it. Alright, what do I need to do to win this game? Having an unanswered Baneslayer Angel would be great. The Karn tokens aren't that big yet. Maybe I'm supposed to... If I attack Karn, it goes to 4. They plus it to 5. I attack it to 2. They plus it, I attack it. So I can kill Karn in 3 attacks, no matter what. But the Rabble Master will kill me in that time anyway. So I think I just pass and leave myself the opportunity to draw an Oblivion Ring for the Karn. Basic Plains, good Magic card, consistently good, maybe best Magic card of all time. Hello. So I can attack Karn. Alright. So I can attack Karn, hope that they Karn minus, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage, then Wrath of God, and try to play Baneslayer Angel. I think I like it. Oh god, no. Baneslayer Angel is really hard to kill for Red Prison. Like, can they kill it? Because Confluence can only do 3 to it. Chandra can only do 4 to it. It would require a combination of multiple cards. Man, even if they don't minus Karn, they just plus Karn, put it back up to 3. I whack it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Alright, unless I'm dead, this is great. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. I'll be at 4, and I take out a lot of dudes. I'm going to have to watch out for Fiery Confluence. Alright. If I draw a land, Baneslayer Angel would be hot. Mana Monkey. Oh man. I think I'm gonna do it, chat. I think I'm gonna bring this one back. Don't Confluence me. Yes! Yes! This puts me to 9, which means that Spirit Guide plus Confluence off the top is not lethal. Alright, do I want to play Trinisphere? I don't think Trinisphere is super relevant this game. I don't think any of the cards in my hand are relevant. Like, my opponent can't cast 0, 1, or 2 drops, so I think there's just no reason to. I can't Chalice for 3. But I would love to Chalice for 3. I think I would 100% do that. Man, I didn't even have to do the math about whether or not I could safely attack. I can just play moat. That was satisfying. That was really satisfying. Okay. Chalice. Out. Trinisphere. Out. Elspeth in. Moat in. More Elspeth in. Council's Judgment in. Luminarch Ascension might actually be fine. And then, like, I could play Thorn of Amethyst or Blessed Alliance or Containment Priest to round things out. So Blessed Alliance is life gain. The Edict effect is probably not super relevant because a lot of the threats are also going to have like tokens being produced with them. But there is the world where like I play a Ghostly Prison effect and then they only attack in with like a Rabble Master where Blessed Alliance can be good. So I'm going to play those. Oh god, yeah. Untapping Baneslayer Angel earlier was super sexy. I enjoyed that a lot. So I'm just taking a second to look over the deck list to make sure like nothing else looks like it should be cut. No, we're not playing Lyra. We actually don't have all that many angels, and I think the upsides of Baneslayer are higher than the upsides of Lyra. Being able to block a Grizzlebrand or attack through a Grizzlebrand matters a lot in this format. And there's a lot of opposing Karakas running around. I don't want my 5-mana finisher to be bounced. This hand is strong. So I have Moat for any sort of opposing creatures. I have Sorcerer's Spyglass for an early Planeswalker. And I have 1 basic land plus Mox Diamond, so I can already produce white-white and not get locked out by Blood Moon. Winter Orb, you say? I actually don't care about that all that much. Like, I have Artifact Mana, too. So my opponent has sort of an aggro hand. They don't actually have mana to cast anything yet. I think my opponent has boarded Chalices out. So I'm not going to cast Mox Diamond in case my opponent draws exactly like a Braid, and they would want to abrade my mana source. I'm going to discard City here. Note that Red Prison literally cannot remove a moat unless my opponent is playing a spicy sideboard that includes Chaos Warp. I'm going to go ahead and untap the Ancient Tomb this turn. Ghostly Prison. That's solid. I'm gonna play Wasteland here. Alright, so my opponent says, I don't think I can win from here, and they were going to concede, and since I'm dead for prizes, I stopped them, and I'm just going to concede instead. Okay, so we didn't cash this league, but I really like the idea of what I have going on here. I think if I fixed the mana, this might be playable. So, like, it's obviously going to have the same sort of consistency issues that any other, like, Stompy deck might. But the top end of this deck felt really good. Like, Baneslayer Angel was crushingly good tonight against a number of different archetypes. It was relatively hard to answer. So the question is then, like, what do we do to make the mana better? Mox Diamond felt a little medium. I don't think I'm playing enough artifacts to justify something like Mox Opal. Serum Powder? Yeah, well, definitely for the Signets, it should be Celestia Signet. Agreed. Is it just, like, Spirit Guide? Am I just supposed to play 4 Spirit Guides and accept the one-time boost of mana over Mox Diamond? Yeah, so, like, the white mana matters in this shell. Well, Petal's just not awesome with Trinisphere. But if I play something like Spirit Guide, then casting the white-white cards gets harder. And that's something I'm already concerned with in this deck. I don't know that I have the answer right now. But I think something needs to change to make the mana better. Like, maybe it's giving up on the Wastelands. Just playing, like, legit 4 more white sources. That's not unreasonable. Ooh, Coalition Relic is an artifact that, like, itself taps for white-white, kind of. But that's a 3-drop, and I really want my acceleration to either be free or to cost 2 so I can play it off a Soul Land on turn 1. Yeah, so I borrow cards from Card Hoarder. They're one of my sponsors. And when I do so, I just kind of like plug my deck list in and go. And anytime I forget to swap out this planes for my preferred planes, I always regret it. So just for anyone who's not a stream regular, this is my preferred planes. I really like the Lightning planes. Chromatic Lantern the, like, 2-drop cantripping one? I always mix these cards up. Oh no, it's the 3 mana your lands tap for any color one. Sorry. Yeah, that's the EDH, like, your mana is perfect card, yeah. Yeah, so the issue with a lot of cards that, like, could help the consistency of the deck is that they're either bad with Chalice or Trinisphere or both. I mean, honestly, Wasteland wasn't that good, right? Most of the time I was just, like, tapping out. So, like, other versions of this deck that I used as a starting point were going and using Wasteland to, like, supplement a Crucible of Worlds Armageddon plan. And while I think it's going to be really important in matchups like Eldrazi Post, where, like, their lands matter, or maybe against some decks like, say, Agrolome, where they have some really annoying lands that you want to get off the battlefield, as a whole, it might not be necessary. Yeah, Suppression Field is another thing that could slot into this deck. The issue is that Suppression Field is very bad with the Planeswalkers. And I think the Planeswalkers are good. So if I wanted to play Suppression Field, I'd need to cut my 3 walkers and just play more creature-based threats. But, like, Elspeth Sun Champion just, like, plus, 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 plus is backbreaking. So Ormsby Gorge, like, you're right. 2 mana to activate a Planeswalker isn't bad, but what if you have 2 Suppression Fields? And that's kind of the issue, right? So I don't think we have that many enchantments. Like, I only have 8 in the main deck. So, like, I have these ones plus Mode. So I think a lot of times Serra Sanctum wouldn't actually make that much mana. So Jedi, I've got a donation link below the stream here. I'll post it in the chat as well. So that is my PayPal link. It's $12 for a donation deck list, and you can throw it into the queue. It'll end up either happening probably tail end of December or first 2 weeks of January. I haven't sketched out the exact schedule for after break yet. So when you submit your donation deck list, you can either email me a deck list or, like, put a link to the deck list in PayPal, like, in your comment section, and that's how you get the deck list to me. So Lord Darfu says, my thought is -4 Wasteland, +2 Plains, +1 City, +1 Signet. That seems like a reasonable another test, like, starting point for testing. I'm not actually sure how hot, like, City of Traders actually is, though. Like, it's really good at letting you play the Chalices on 1, or, like, the Trinispheres on 2. But it's a little awkward with some of the white cards. And since I have, like, 4 and 5-drop finishers, just sitting on a City of Traders isn't always feasible. Yeah, I don't know. This is something I don't have all the answers to right now, but I do find what we've got here to be a really cool starting point. I agree. This feels like a Jedi deck. This is the good guys deck, right? What about -4 Wasteland, +3 Ancient Den, +1 Opal? So, how many artifacts do I need for Mox Opal to be good? There is the other issue of, like, playing Ancient Den would also go and, like, open you up more to Wastelands, whereas, like, a good portion of my white lands aren't wastelandable right now. So the thing about flagstones is that you need to respect back to basics and Blood Moon in this format. So flagstones isn't necessarily just free. All right, sorry, I'm going to take 2 seconds to do a quick update, and then I want to say a few things. All right, let's see. The Thalia Eldrazi deck you brewed up was a white Stompy deck as well. How does it compare to Angel Stompy? The white Stompy deck that I was playing was much more aggressive. I think that was this. Was it this one you were talking about, my Mangara Lock deck? Because I have a couple of these similar decks. Crystal Vein's definitely not crazy, right? Toronto, Canada, yeah. Thank you very much for following. I hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. Aries Ed Wilds, or however I'm supposed to pronounce that, we're actually going to run Celestia Signets, because Celestia Signet will let us activate the Shalai. One of the ones from the summer. Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I have like hundreds of deck lists. That one was, again, still more creature heavy than this Angel Stompy deck list. I think that was the one that had like Thalias and Thought-Knot Seers, and it was like a Soldier Stompy deck list. So that one had like Suppression Field, Thought-Knot, both Thalias, and I think Chalice of the Void as well. I don't think it had Trinisphere, though. Okay, so I just want to take a second to kind of like talk where the stream's going in the not-too-distant future. Yeah, it's always tricky, like, when you see a Twitch chat name and it's like, where are the syllable breaks here? How am I supposed to read this? So I have 2 donation deck lists queued up. I have a Dak Faden Prison deck that is going to try to abuse tapping my own artifacts with Girapur Ether Grid. And so we're going to play Howling Mine and Winter Orb, which stop working if you tap them. So the goal is to tap our own things so that they shut off, but they work during our opponent's turn. So someone sent me a deck list around that I'll try out. I got a land tax scroll rack donation, and then I have 3 things queued up that need to happen. I'm going to play some exhibition matches versus Anurag Das sometimes of D&T versus Miracles. I have 2 guest streams. I'm going to keep quiet who those are for the exact moment until I announce the date. But I'm pretty excited about both of them. And then I presumably have a donation deck list from Jedi whenever they get around to doing that. So these are things that are coming in the not-too-distant future. But I am going to go home for a week. So on Friday, I'm flying out and I'm going to be going to Kansas City and Illinois for about a week. So I'll probably get back on the 28th or 29th. So regular streaming is likely to start up again on the 31st. And I'll probably stick to my regular donation then. All right, so Jedi, you want your deck list for a Monday? I'll make a note of that, and I will try to make that happen. Thank you very much for the donation, by the way. I really appreciate it. It's things like that that keep me going. All right, so again, no streams next week due to me traveling home for the holidays, but after that, I've got some neat things queued up. There might be a couple of bonus streams to make up for me kind of taking off a week. I don't want those of you who subbed for December to feel like you were ripped off of some content. Oh, I will have fun over the holidays. It's going to be a lot of Switch in the car and on an airplane, though. I'm not looking forward to that part. So I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. Under normal circumstances, I'm streaming every Monday and Wednesday night at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Saturday mornings, I go and stream as well. It's usually at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning. And so I hope you've enjoyed this content. I do want to take a minute to thank my sponsors, Cardboard Live, who run the sweet extension that I think is changing the face of Magic, and Card Hoarder for letting me borrow all of these sweet cards. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to send you over to someone I don't know, but it looks like they're playing some Legacy Miracles, and I love Legacy content. Cheers, folks. Merry Christmas. Happy Holidays. EO Saturnalia. Whatever you celebrate, I hope it's great.